Hello everyone and welcome to another tips and tricks video, guys, in Cricket Captain 2020. Of course, this can be used for any Cricket Captain game in general. We are here today talking about T20 batting and bowling tips, and we're going to be starting with the batting tips. Let's get straight into it. We are chasing 168 against the West Indies on an unsettled sort of weather day. The pitch is pretty good to bat on. Now, I usually like to start things off a little bit slower, so maybe at 6.2 for the first over. See how we go. Pretty slow to start, and then I'll probably up one of the batters to have a crack in the power play. There you go, Guptill's going to hit a boundary, and then kind of go from there, knowing that I've got to kind of get a bit of a move on. There you go, Conway's going to hit a 6. Oh, shot off the back foot. The main thing, guys, for T20 batting is, I guess, assessing not only kind of what the field is from the opposition. As you can see here, they've got a bit of a more spread field for Conway, so he can be a little bit more aggressive because there's, more gaps. Martin Guptill's got the more defensive field, interestingly enough, because they've actually pushed all the players on the offside. So if they bowl straight to him, he's going to score runs. Of course, they actually get Conway out, though. So, again, this sort of situation, 25 for 1. Oh, I'd say that Kane's probably just got to settle down a bit. 8.8 needed per over. And 9s per over needed, so I'm really looking at trying to get Guptill to launch here, guys. Unfortunately, Kane Williamson departs for 10, so I'm just going to try and go through the innings and kind of show you how I kind of construct my innings depending on the situation. So 8.9 needed per over, so Ross Taylor probably has to kind of get a bit of a start, but he's going to have to get going pretty quickly here, it's fair to say. 8.9. Guptill went bang there. Okay, 8.2 now. 8.4, not too bad. So we're going to move Ross Taylor up to full. 8.4 needed per over. Unfortunately, Ross Taylor is going to get out, but we do reach 100 for 2 before he does get out. So Glenn Phillips is going to come out and have a bit of time to settle. Oh my goodness. Yep, Martin Guptill is going crazy. Gets a 50. Okay, well in that case, Glenn Phillips can kind of launch a bit earlier because we only 7 and over, but he is going to depart. We do need 6.3 per over. I'm trying to get this done earlier rather than later as well, guys, my run chasers, because if you leave it till too late, you do end up choking at the death. I've had that quite often. Now, I've been told one of my biggest tips in this video, guys, is if you actually go up to the max, which in Guptill's case is 13.6 per over. This is the target run rate, by the way, if you did not know. They will not achieve this target run rate, by the way, guys, but they will try to achieve it. So they're kind of batting to achieve that sort of target run rate. Doesn't mean they will achieve it. They can go under or above that, but that's the sort of target run rate they're looking to get. If they go at 13.6, Guptill is probably more often than not going to get out because he's absolutely trying to slog the pants off. He's trying to smash it out the ground every single ball, which it may work, but, it's going to result in him playing missing more, and the probability of him getting out is going to increase. So most people actually recommend that you kind of bounce one off the top and stay very aggressive, but not too aggressive where they're playing out of their skin, if you will. And yeah, as I said, my kind of tip is, for example, for Chapman here, he kind of needs to start a bit slower. And as I say that, of course, he gets out anyway, so he's gone for 2 off 3. And this is kind of the interesting part, the 24 of 24. Okay, Guptill's kind of done the job a bit better here. Although Neesham hits a boundary and is now gone. 8 needed, so Mitchell Satin is probably about an 8 there. Can Guptill finish the game off? Yes. Okay. Well, there you go. So that is sort of how I play my T20 batting innings, guys. The main tip I really suggest, guys, is to make sure that you have your aggression one off the top, because if you have it top aggression, they will just completely try and slog it out the ground most times, and it will not work unless I'm really trying to score a very, very, very quick run rate, unless I believe Guptill is completely settled in and he's not striking at the rate I want him to. I would then up him to full aggression, because then he's either going to get out or he's going to hit out, basically hit out or get out. That's kind of that mode. But in this case, Guptill was striking at 193 strike rate without me even moving it to the top, to his top aggression. And so therefore he's nearly scoring at 12 and over anyway, without him taking unnecessary risks. He's just batting. He's just batting at his best here. 87 not out of 45 balls. That's kind of what you want. Everyone else, you kind of need to play around your main batter. So if Guptill is in right now, as you can see, a lot of the times I try to kind of go a little bit earlier with the other players than I normally would, just because Guptill is already striking it and I need them to either kind of just work it for a single and get Guptill on strike, or just hit it because Guptill is doing most of the work, and we kind of want to make sure that Guptill isn't being hampered by the rest of the team, basically, as you can see, which is why we lost quite a lot of wickets around Guptill, but at the end of the day, New Zealand won the match. We chased
Alright, and here we are with the T20 bowling tips
part of this episode, guys. We have lost the toss against West Indies, and we will have a bowl first in this T20 International on Cricket Captain 2020. Again, this can be used for any Cricket Captain game that you guys own. Let's get straight into the tips. As you can see here, we've got Trent Boult taking on Shai Hope and Chris Gayle. I usually play on medium highlights, guys, so 4s plus wickets and chances, that's what that means. I like to have Trent Boult for both right-handers and left-handers come over the wicket. So, for example, Bolt's going to come over the wicket, and what a way to start the tips. It's a 6, there you go. Not a great over, it's fair to say. And again, for right armers, I like to keep them over the wicket for left-handed and right-handed batters. So, as you can see, Kyle Jamieson comes around to Chris Gayle. And with that, another 4. Not a great start, not a great start. There you go, a wicket. As you can see, Jamieson picked up a wicket, and now he's going to come over for Shimron Hetmyer. And he's going to cut it away for 6, fair enough. But you can see, guys, I'm just bowling with a standard sort of plan. This is the default. I don't go any more aggressive than this in T20s because simply you're going to leave too many gaps in the field for the batters to go and hit boundaries through. However, maybe, I haven't actually done it myself, but maybe you would use this aggression level if you had the opposition 2 or 3 or 4 wickets down very, very cheaply. You could go on the offensive and go to this sort of aggression level if the opposition was under enormous pressure and you just wanted to bowl them out. But otherwise, like, you don't need this sort of 3 slips and gully stuff. It just is pointless in T20s normally, so I would stick to this to start with. If you feel, let's say, that Shimron Hetmyer is going quite aggressive, I would drop his aggression entirely down, and as you can see here, I've got 2 out now, a sort of deep backward point and a deep cover. That means that as well, if you're bowling, which is normal, the sort of channel outside off, as you can see with Trent Boult's actually going to be more often than not bowling with this field to Hetmyer here. So let's see how he goes. Well, even with that field, it still goes for 4 because it beats deep cover. There you go. There you go. The value of having a slip in early for players. Again, as you can see, as Chris Gayle is gone. Again, I highly suggest, guys, in the power play, when your bowlers are on form, make sure that you have a slip in play, because the amount of times he will come into play, well, you don't know. I mean, as you can see there, he's come into play twice already in this match. Oh, and it's just proving the point again. Third time, third slip catch. I mean, I don't think it happens quite that often as it has in this game, but nonetheless, taking it. Oh, no way. It's 4 slip catches for Mitch Santner. I mean, you're witnessing history, believe it or not, guys. I mean, this doesn't normally happen, but here we are in a tips video, and Santner's taken 4 catches. It's unbelievable. So the first 6 overs, as we know, are the power play overs. So again, I'll sort of play out how I would go here. Again, I think I would love another wicket, but Trent Boult's not been economical in the power play, so I would probably swap it to Neesham. And the strategy with that, guys, is Neesham's actually one of, probably out of these 5 bowlers, the weakest of the 5. So I'm trying to squeeze in his overs as strategically as possible. Mitchell Santner, Boult, Ferguson, they're all kind of play around that. As you can see, I'm trying to find a sort of the cheapest over possible from Neesham. And there you go, he's got a wicket in his first delivery, with his first delivery there. And he's gone for just 5 runs. So maybe I'm wrong. There's a possibility I'm wrong with Neesham and his bowling weakness out of this whole lineup. But in saying that, I don't think I am. I think I've just got to play him as strategically as possible. So there was the perfect over that we snuck in the power play, which means that Kyle Jamieson with 3 for 18 can probably go again. He's going to try and snag another wicket. Again, I would normally bowl 2 overs for the openers, But because Jameson is taking wickets as he takes a fourth here, I would continue. I mean, the conditions as well, I will do a video separate on that. You can see the conditions are very, very cloudy for bowlers right now. So the ball is doing a whole heap through the air, you would imagine. And with that, as you can see, Jameson's bowled out through the power play and he's taken 4 for 26, which means West Indies are 54 for 6. Like, they are completely set back in this game now, where Mitchell Satner outside the power play can come into his own. Now, interestingly, guys, I actually bowl with T20s with these custom fields here. So you can hit user defined or move any player on the field and it brings up the fielding presets. These are all custom made by myself. So the way you make them is basically dragging people out and going, I want this person there, I want this person there, and going from there. As you can see, this is the sort of field I would kind of go with. I'd kind of go 3 on the offside, 2 on the off, purely because Mitchell Satner predominantly spins it away from the right-handers. So this is the sort of field I want to cover the spin away, because they're going to want to hit with the spin rather than against it through square leg and so on. I mean, they can, but they're not going to. They're going to be more likely to hit it through the offside than the onside. So for example, this is the sort of field, again, there you go, they hit it through the offside with the spin and they get 4 runs. There you can see the kind of theory coming into play there, guys. Oh my goodness, and see, that's hit against the spin, which is a risky shot, but in that occasion, he got away with it. Oh my goodness, Holder is just creaming him. And on this occasion, with Jameson taking 4 for 26 here, and the game basically being up to West Indies now, I would almost be tempted to sort of, I'm going to go with the custom field still, but I'm going to try and get a slip and play here. So, as you can see, I've got 4 on the offside, 1 on the on, which is very risky through no fine leg, stuff like that. But we're just going to go for it here with Jameson. Why not? All right, so Jameson's going to bowl outside off. We've got 1 slip and play, and he gets a 5 for. There you go. So, he's actually done the risk-reward thing very well, guys. He's taken 5 for 28, which is crazy, because I mean, in my career mode, he's never done that for me, I'm just saying. But the whole theory, guys, is if someone is taking wickets, bowl them through, because the more wickets you can take the earlier, the better. Because now we've got West Indies 68 for 7. It doesn't actually matter too much who we bowl. We only have 3 wickets to take. So Mitchell Satner might not even bowl here. I might actually just go straight to Lockie Ferguson and chuck on any sort of aggressive field. I'd probably go a little bit more defensive to Holder, because he feels like he's getting us away a little bit. And I'm actually going to change things up. As you can see here, there's a different tactic as well, guys. Try different things with your death bowling, with your bowling in the middle. Because, for example, with Lockie Ferguson, I predominantly like to come around the wicket to Jason Holder as a right-hander to try and cramp him up, make sure he hits through the leg side, meaning he doesn't hit anything through the offside, so I can pack the offside in the ring and pull all the fielders to the leg side, basically reducing the boundaries. The whole thing in T20s, guys, is you want to reduce boundaries and get wickets. The less boundaries they hit, the less runs they'll end up with, and the more wickets you take, the less runs they'll end up with as well, more often than not, because obviously it's hard for batters to just come in and strike it from ball 1. So this is kind of just basic T20 knowledge, really. Again, playing the situation, I would kind of feel that Nisham is going to bowl, just purely because I feel like he bowled well in the first over, and then doesn't bowl well. Unfortunately, he gets hit for some runs, but Lockie Ferguson's going to bowl yet again. Gone. And there you go. Lockie Ferguson takes another wicket. 81 for 8. No, outside the line. I'm actually going to return Mitchell Satner now, but I'm going to put the whole field out for everyone and see how he goes. And gone. There you go. He picks up Roach. And Lockie Ferguson, can he clean up Cottrell to finish the innings? Yes, he can. There you go. So West Indies, oh my goodness. Doing this bowling tips, guys, I've actually just broken a new all-time record for New Zealand. Best bowling figures for New Zealand against West Indies, 5 for 28. So there you go. So I guess that might be a little bit of helpful tips for you guys. I will say a couple of rules for myself. I predominantly do not bowl spinners in the power play. I just see it as too risky, with the field being, with only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle in the first 6 overs. I feel that it's too much of a risk to bowl spinners in the power play. I haven't actually tried it. Maybe you guys should try it out and see how it goes, but predominantly I don't bother. I just go with all pace bowlers, and then I would go with a spinner straight after the power play is finished. So Mitchell Satner, as you can see, bowled the 7th over with the field out so that he can straight away utilize the field restrictions being removed. For team selection, as you can see here, interestingly, I've got only 1 spinner at the moment in Mitchell Satner in the side, which would be a little bit interesting if I decided to play, let's say, Ish Sodhi, because I feel like Ish Sodhi would have to take the spot of someone like Nisham, whereby I kind of have to bowl them at least an over or in the power play, and probably through the middle would be fine, but it would just mean that you're probably going to end up with spin at both ends. As long as you're comfortable with that and your spinners are producing results with that, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter if you have 2 spinners or 1 spinner. It kind of just all depends on your balance of your sides, guys, but this is the balance I've gone with the current side in my career mode, and it's working quite well for me. I'll just leave that up to you guys. Again, here the conditions for batting weren't the best, in all fairness, because it was very cloudy, so that's something to consider. So maybe on a more flat wicket, you would probably see a different result. You have to kind of adjust for the wickets and realize that if it's a flat sort of wicket, then you've got to realize that having big innings, someone getting 80 or 90, might just be the normal sort of way it goes on a flat track. On this occasion, it's very hard to bat, it looks like, and West Indies getting 87 all out. Funny enough, after they elected to win the toss and bat, interestingly, that's the sort of stuff I go with, guys. My encouragement would just be experiment with your fields, guys. Experiment with having different people in and out, and try and just make sure you refine your fields to have as minimal boundaries hit against all your bowlers as possible, because if you reduce boundaries, you reduce the runs they get when they're set in. That forces them to take more risks, which ultimately leads to more wickets. So that's kind of what you're looking for as well. Just remember, guys, that at the end of the day, you can have 5 fielders outside the circle, and in the Cricket Captain default fields, even if you reduce the aggression to the lowest state, you only have 2 fielders out, even with that. So just really make sure that I would suggest you put your fielders out, put the 5 fielders out, and save that as a field placement in your game, guys. It should be pretty easy to figure out. Just make sure you do that, because it really restricts the amount of boundaries that the AI hits by default, because by default, if you leave just 2 fielders out, the AI is going to play the whole game like a power play, and that's not going to be great news for you. Other than that, guys, I guess I would just recommend as well, make sure you have some situational analysis around cricket in general. If wickets are falling, keep the attacking fielders in place, especially a slip or 2, especially at least 1 slip would be very, very handy. As you saw in this game, we had multiple catches go to the slip fielder. In fact, Satner took 5 catches in the slips in this game. Obviously, that's not going to happen every single game, but even 2 or 3 slip catches in one game would be a phenomenal result, trying to make sure that you can bowl teams out. That is ultimately the goal in T20 cricket. If you can't restrict them, bowl them out. Bowl them out is the first goal, and then the second goal is, if you can't bowl them out, restrict their runs. That's kind of the aim of the game, really, with the bowling department in T20 cricket. And yeah, if you're taking early wickets, just make sure you keep that slip in. Like, just make sure you have the slip in, be aggressive, because wickets up front are so crucial in this game, guys. If you let any batter settle in, even to get 20 or 30, they can go on to hit 80, 70 plus. You know, they really punish you in T20 cricket if you don't get them out early. So as you can see in this game, it worked out an absolute treat for New Zealand in this game. But that's not going to happen every single time, obviously. It has definitely not happened for me every single time. This is the lowest score I've actually bowled West Indies out in this game. That in itself was just a random achievement I managed to achieve somehow there. But at the end of the day, guys, it's just analyzing the scenarios and the situation that the game throws up to you. You just have to kind of adapt. If West Indies are 4 for 41, I should definitely be having a slip in place. If they're none for 80, I should definitely have all fielders, everyone out that I can possibly have out in the right places to make sure that they don't hit boundaries, because obviously being settled in, it's easier to hit boundaries than if you're not. Otherwise, guys, I hope I covered everything there, guys. Let me know anything at all that I didn't cover, guys, down in the comments. I apologize if I did not cover something, or if you think I missed something. Let me know in the comments, and again, I apologize for that in advance. Otherwise, if you did enjoy this tips and tricks video, guys, in the bowling in T20 internationals and T20s in Cricket Captain, then please make sure you leave a like. Subscribe for more content such as this, guys. Don't forget to follow me on my social medias down below, especially on Twitter. I tweet out a lot. And join my Discord server to receive exclusive updates for when all my videos go live. I will see you all in the next tips and tricks video, guys. Coming to you soon. Goodbye for now.